In the heart of Switzerland lies a think tank that has quietly shaped the world's understanding of sustainability for over half a century. The Club of Rome, established in 1968, is an organization of scientists, economists, businessmen, international high officials, and former heads of state devoted to addressing the crucial problems that threaten humanity's future. Yet, this seemingly benign group has been the subject of various conspiracy theories and speculation. At the crux of the concern lies the club's landmark report, The Limits to Growth, published in 1972. This report, which outlined the potential collapse of global systems under the weight of human consumption, ignited a firestorm of controversy. Critics claimed that its bleak predictions were exaggerated or even fabricated, while others saw it as a veiled attempt to justify global control and population manipulation by an elite group of intellectuals. The report used computer models to predict the outcome of unrestricted economic and population growth in relation to the finite supply of natural resources. The model projected that if humanity continued on its current path, we would deplete our resources and cause irreversible environmental damage, leading to a potential collapse of global society by the middle of the 21st century. The report concluded that the only way to avoid this catastrophe was to implement strict measures to curb population growth and consumption. While the report was heavily criticized at the time, many of its predictions have proven alarmingly accurate. This has only fueled the conspiracy theories surrounding the club. Some believe that the report was not merely a scientific prediction, but a blueprint for a planned global economy controlled by the club and its associated organizations, a strategy for managing the world's resources and population under the guise of sustainability. Others suggest that the Club of Rome is part of a larger network of global elite organizations, such as the Bilderberg Group or the Trilateral Commission, working together to establish a new world order. Those subscribing to this viewpoint often point to the fact that several Club of Rome members have also been members of these other groups. However, it is essential to note that correlation does not necessarily imply causation, and membership in multiple think tanks does not automatically indicate a grand conspiracy. On one hand, it is undeniable that the club's research has significantly influenced global policies related to sustainability and resource management. On the other hand, the idea that this relatively small group of intellectuals could single-handedly manipulate global systems to their advantage seems far-fetched. As we delve deeper into the history and workings of the Club of Rome, we'll explore these theories and the evidence supporting them, while also providing the context necessary to understand the complex reality of this influential organization. The Club of Rome was formed on the 25th of April, 1968. Its birthplace was a villa in Rome, Italy, belonging to one of its founding members, Italian industrialist Aurelio Peccei. The other founding members, a cohort of 30 scientists, economists, business leaders, and civil servants, were brought together by a shared concern for the state of the world. They were united in their belief that humanity was in danger of exhausting the Earth's resources and that something needed to be done to prevent this looming catastrophe. Peccei was a key figure in the formation of the club. His international business career, particularly in Latin America, had given him first-hand experience of the challenges posed by rapid industrialization and population growth. He was also deeply influenced by the ideas of British economist Barbara Ward, a pioneer in the field of sustainable development. Ward argued that the world's problems could not be solved by nation-states acting independently, but required a coordinated global response. The late 1960s were a time of great social and political upheaval. The Cold War was at its peak, and the world was divided into two opposing blocs. The Vietnam War was raging, and protests against it were erupting across the globe. At the same time, the civil rights movement was challenging racial inequality in the United States, and the feminist movement was demanding greater equality for women. Amidst all this turmoil, the Club of Rome offered a different perspective, focusing on the environmental and economic challenges that threatened all of humanity, regardless of political ideology or national borders. The club's existence was kept secret initially. Its members believed that they could work more effectively behind the scenes, without the glare of public scrutiny. They also feared that their controversial ideas about limiting economic and population growth might provoke a backlash. However, their secrecy also fueled speculation and conspiracy theories, with critics alleging that the club was part of a global elite seeking to impose a new world order. The Club of Rome was not a product of any particular cultural, political, or spiritual movement. Its members came from a variety of backgrounds and held a range of views. What united them was a shared concern for the future of humanity and the planet. Despite the controversies and conspiracies that have surrounded it, the club has remained steadfast in its mission to promote a more sustainable and equitable world. Whether it has succeeded in this mission and what its true motives might be are questions that we will continue to explore. At the heart of the Club of Rome were its founders, Italian industrialist Aurelio Peccei and Scottish scientist Alexander King. Peccei was a successful businessman who had worked for Fiat in Italy and Argentina and later became the CEO of Olivetti. He had witnessed firsthand the impact of rapid industrialization on the environment and society and was deeply concerned about the future of the planet. King, on the other hand, was a respected scientist who had served as the Director of Scientific Affairs at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. He shared Peccei's concerns and believed that science could provide solutions to the world's most pressing problems. These two men brought together a diverse group of people, including economists, scientists, and former politicians, to form the Club of Rome. Among them were notable figures such as economist Dennis Meadows, who would later lead the team that produced the controversial report, The Limits to Growth, and former United States Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. Despite their varied backgrounds, all members were united by a shared belief in the need for a coordinated global response to the challenges posed by overpopulation, pollution, and resource depletion. The Club of Rome's belief system was not based on any religious or political ideology. Instead, it was rooted in a scientific understanding of the world and its resources. The club's members believed that the Earth's capacity to support human life was not infinite, and that if humanity continued to consume resources at the current rate, it would eventually lead to a global catastrophe. They argued that to prevent this, it was necessary to limit both economic and population growth. This belief was controversial and challenged the prevailing economic orthodoxy, which held that growth was always beneficial and that any problems it caused could be solved through technological innovation. To share their ideas, the Club of Rome published reports and held conferences. Their first report, The Limits to Growth, published in 1972, used computer modeling to predict the impacts of continued economic and population growth. It warned that unless these trends were reversed, the world would face a series of crises, including resource depletion, environmental pollution, and social instability. The report was a bestseller and sparked a global debate about the future of humanity. However, the Club of Rome's ideas were not universally accepted. Critics accused them of being overly pessimistic and argued that their predictions had been proven wrong by the continued growth and prosperity of the world economy. Others claimed that the club's emphasis on limiting growth was a cover for a nefarious agenda to control the world's population and resources. Despite these criticisms, the Club of Rome has continued to advocate for a more sustainable and equitable world, arguing that the challenges we face are too great to be ignored. Let's delve into some of the more prominent conspiracy theories that have swirled around the Club of Rome since its inception. These theories often paint the club as a shadowy organization with a hidden agenda to control the world's population and resources. One of the most frequently cited theories alleges that the Club of Rome is a part of a global elite, often referred to as the New World Order. This supposed shadow government, according to conspiracy theorists, is composed of powerful individuals and organizations that manipulate world events to consolidate wealth and power. The Club of Rome, in this schema, is accused of playing a significant role in this global conspiracy, using its influence to shape global policies and control the world's resources. The club's report, The Limits to Growth, has also been a focal point for conspiracy theorists. The report's warnings about the dangers of overpopulation and resource depletion are seen by some as a pretext for implementing population control measures. This theory often ties into fears about a global depopulation agenda, with the Club of Rome accused of advocating for drastic reductions in population to conserve resources and maintain control. The club's emphasis on sustainability and environmental concerns has also stirred up conspiracy theories. Some argue that the club uses the threat of environmental catastrophe to justify increased global governance and restrictions on individual freedoms. They claim that the club's environmental concerns are merely a smokescreen for a hidden agenda of control and manipulation. Theorists often point to the club's influential members as evidence of its hidden power. The club's membership includes high-ranking politicians, influential academics, and leaders of major corporations, leading some to believe that the club's agenda is secretly implemented through these individuals' actions and policies. This theory posits that the club subtly influences world events and manipulates public opinion through its members, who occupy key positions in society. While these conspiracy theories are widespread, it's important to remember that they are just that: theories. They often rely on a selective reading of the club's actions and statements and fall into the trap of seeing malice in every action. They also ignore the club's consistent advocacy for a more equitable and sustainable world. Nonetheless, these theories continue to circulate, fueled by a climate of distrust and fear of powerful global institutions. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth of the Club of Rome, it's crucial to consider the role of symbols and coded language in its operations. These elements often serve as a veil, shrouding the group's activities in secrecy and adding fuel to the conspiracy theories surrounding it. One of the primary symbols associated with the Club of Rome is its emblem. The emblem, a stylized globe encased within two concentric circles, has been interpreted in numerous ways by conspiracy theorists. The globe signifies the club's global perspective and its focus on worldwide issues. The two circles, on the other hand, are often seen as representing the club's dual objectives: to influence public policy and to mold public opinion. They could also symbolize the club's belief in the interconnectivity of global systems, a concept central to its worldview. Further coded language can be found in the club's publications. For instance, the terms sustainability and resilience are frequently employed. While these terms are commonly used in discussions about environmental policy, conspiracy theorists suggest that they may have a more sinister connotation within the club. Some argue that sustainability is code for population control measures, while resilience may refer to the ability of the elite to withstand any societal upheaval that their policies might cause. Another point of interest lies in the club's meetings. The secrecy surrounding these gatherings has led to speculation about possible rituals or secret practices conducted behind closed doors. While there is no concrete evidence to support these claims, the lack of transparency has undoubtedly given rise to speculation and suspicion. Subtle hand gestures and body language among the club's members have also been analyzed and interpreted by those seeking hidden meanings. A handshake, a nod, or even a seemingly innocuous hand gesture can be dissected and scrutinized for potential coded messages. However, without a definitive guide or insider knowledge, these interpretations remain largely speculative. Finally, the club's use of predictive modeling and simulation exercises is seen by some as a means of planning and controlling future events. These tools, often used in policy planning and decision-making, are seen by some as evidence of the club's desire to manipulate global outcomes according to its agenda. In sum, the use of symbols, coded language, and secretive practices by the Club of Rome serves to maintain an air of mystery around the group. Whether these elements are merely a product of the club's modus operandi or evidence of a more nefarious agenda remains a question in the minds of many. It's this ambiguity, this dance between the visible and the hidden, that continues to fuel the intrigue and speculation surrounding the Club of Rome. In an effort to expose the Club of Rome's alleged secretive agenda, several individuals and groups throughout history have attempted to bring to light what they perceive as the truth behind the organization. Their methods vary from investigative journalism and scholarly research to whistleblowing and online activism. The reaction from the Club of Rome to these attempts has been consistently marked by evasion, disinformation, or even veiled threats. One of the most notable attempts to expose the club came from investigative journalist and author Jim Marrs. In his book, Rule by Secrecy, Marrs openly questioned the club's intentions, suggesting a globalist agenda. He delved into the club's intricate relationships with other secretive organizations like the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and the FBI. His claims, while sensational, were largely dismissed by the mainstream media. The club's response? Silence. A tactic often employed by the club when faced with accusations and inquiries, possibly to maintain their mystique or to avoid providing any ammunition to their detractors. Another attempt to expose the club's activities came from within. An alleged former member, who chose to remain anonymous for fear of retribution, reportedly leaked information about the club's secretive meetings and their globalist agenda on an online forum. The legitimacy of the claims was, however, largely contested, and the club denied any connection to the individual, labeling the information as false and misleading. Conspiracy theorists and alternative media outlets have also tried to expose the club. They have disseminated information, often speculative or based on circumstantial evidence, connecting the club to various global crises and controversial policies. The club's response has often been to deny involvement and dismiss these claims as baseless. In a more aggressive move, there have been instances where individuals who have attempted to expose the club have reportedly received subtle threats or found themselves under inexplicable scrutiny. The truth of these allegations, however, remains murky. Uncovering the truth about the Club of Rome is no easy task. The club continues to maintain a veil of secrecy around its activities, while those who attempt to expose them are often met with evasion, disinformation, and in some cases, intimidation. Whatever the truth may be, the struggle to reveal it only adds another layer of intrigue to the enduring enigma that is the Club of Rome. As we delve deeper into the club's history and its role in shaping our world, the line between fact and fiction becomes increasingly blurred, leaving us with more questions than answers. Delving deeper into the inner workings of the Club of Rome, we find that their philosophy is not as mundane as one might expect from an organization of their stature. The club's worldview, while grounded in scientific research and political analysis, also embraces esoteric, spiritual, and metaphysical beliefs. It is these beliefs that lend the club its distinctive character and mission. The club's worldview is fundamentally based on the concept of a holistic and interconnected universe. They see the world not as a collection of isolated entities, but as a complex web of relationships and processes. Everything, according to them, is interconnected and interdependent. This perspective allows them to see the world in a different light, one that emphasizes the importance of mutual cooperation and sustainable development. There's an implicit spiritual element to the club's philosophy, although it's not overtly religious. The club's emphasis on interconnectivity and mutual dependence mirrors the teachings of many spiritual traditions worldwide. They believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being and the need for social and economic justice. Importantly, the club's worldview is rooted in a deep respect for the planet. They see the Earth not as a resource to be exploited, but as a living entity to be nurtured and protected. This ecocentric philosophy is reflected in their reports and policy recommendations, which often call for sustainable development and environmental protection. Key to the Club of Rome's teachings is also the belief in human potential. They believe that humanity has the capacity to solve its own problems and shape its own destiny. They see the current global crisis not as an inevitable doom, but as a challenge that can be met with creativity, innovation, and collective action. The club also holds a deep faith in the transformative power of knowledge. They believe that by gaining a better understanding of the world and our place in it, we can bring about positive change. This belief is manifested in their commitment to research, education, and information dissemination. In terms of divine authority, the club refrains from endorsing any specific deity or religious doctrine. However, they do emphasize the spiritual dimension of human existence and the need for ethical and moral guidance in all aspects of life. To summarize, the Club of Rome's worldview is a unique blend of scientific rationality, spiritual wisdom, and social activism. It's a vision that challenges the status quo and calls for a profound transformation in the way we live and govern our world. While their methods and motives may be shrouded in secrecy, their philosophy provides a fascinating insight into the minds behind this enigmatic organization. As we delve deeper into the influence of the Club of Rome on modern culture and power structures, it's essential to understand that their impact is not always overt. Instead, it's often woven subtly into the fabric of our society, influencing a broad array of domains, including media, politics, education, and finance. Let's start with media. It's no secret that media plays a crucial role in shaping public opinion and societal norms. If you look closely, you'll find echoes of the club's philosophy in various media outlets. Whether it's the increasing focus on climate change in news reports, or the rise of documentaries exploring the human impact on our planet, or even movies and TV shows promoting themes of sustainability and social justice, one could argue that these reflect the club's influence. It's important to note, however, that this is speculative. The Club of Rome doesn't explicitly claim influence over any specific media content. Moving on to politics, the club's emphasis on global cooperation and sustainability can be seen in many political agendas worldwide. Take the Paris Agreement, for example, a global effort to combat climate change and transition towards a sustainable, low-carbon future. These principles align closely with the club's philosophy. Yet again, it's not clear-cut evidence of the organization's direct influence, but the parallels are hard to ignore. In the field of education, the club's belief in the transformative power of knowledge is reflected in the growing trend towards holistic and sustainable education. More and more schools and universities are integrating environmental studies and sustainability into their curriculums. Again, while it's not definitive proof, it's certainly suggestive of the club's influence. When it comes to finance, the club's impact might be perceived in the increasing focus on sustainable investing. Many financial institutions are now considering environmental, social, and governance factors in their investment decisions, a practice that aligns with the club's ethos. The Club of Rome's influence on religion is more nuanced. While the club doesn't endorse any particular religious doctrine, its teachings mirror many spiritual traditions that emphasize interconnectivity and mutual dependence. These themes are increasingly resonating with individuals and religious groups alike, leading to a surge in interfaith movements and spiritual practices focused on environmental stewardship and social justice. In conclusion, tracing the Club of Rome's influence on modern culture and power structures is like untangling a complex web. While direct evidence of their influence is hard to come by, the club's philosophy can be seen reflected in a myriad of ways across various sectors of society. Whether or not this is due to their direct intervention, the club's ideas have undoubtedly permeated many aspects of our modern world. Now, we delve into the realm of the more radical and often disputed theories surrounding the Club of Rome. These theories veer into areas that, for many, might seem straight out of a science fiction novel. The Club of Rome, they suggest, is not just a think tank, but a secret society with connections to occult rituals, global mind control, mass manipulation, and even extraterrestrial origins. Let's start with the occult theories. Some argue that the Club of Rome, much like the infamous Illuminati, operates under the guise of a global think tank while engaging in occult rituals and ceremonies. Critics often cite the club's focus on a holistic approach to global issues, which they believe could be a coded reference to esoteric or mystical beliefs. These theorists suggest that the club's meetings might include rituals designed to harness spiritual or magical powers to influence global events. Of course, these claims are largely speculative and lack concrete evidence, but they paint a picture of a shadowy organization operating behind the scenes of global power structures. Another theory posits that the Club of Rome is involved in global mind control and mass manipulation. The club's emphasis on education and media influence is seen by some as an attempt to shape global consciousness. They suggest that the club's goal isn't just to predict and plan for the future, but to actively control it by manipulating public thought and behavior. This theory often draws parallels with George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, where an omnipresent government uses psychological manipulation to control society. Some theorists take this idea even further, suggesting that the Club of Rome's long-term goals involve the establishment of a new world order, a centralized global government that would hold absolute power over the world's population. They argue that the club's focus on global cooperation and sustainability is a smokescreen for their true aim: absolute global domination. Perhaps the most outlandish theory suggests that the Club of Rome has extraterrestrial origins. This idea posits that the club's members are not just influential people, but beings from another planet or dimension. They believe that the club's prescient predictions and their focus on global issues reflect an otherworldly perspective, one that is too advanced for any human organization. Regardless of their plausibility, these theories certainly add to the enigmatic aura surrounding the Club of Rome. They depict a secretive organization with immense power and influence, operating behind a facade of academic respectability. While these theories are largely speculative and lack concrete evidence, they underscore the profound impact the Club of Rome has had on our collective imagination and our understanding of global power structures. As we delve deeper into the enigma that is the Club of Rome, it's essential not to lose sight of the organization's original stated goal. It's a think tank, a collection of forward thinkers and global leaders aiming to address the complexities of our planet's future. However, with the myriad of theories that have arisen over the years, it's easy to wonder what the club's true ambitions might be. With such an influential group, the potential for power and control can be both tantalizing and terrifying. What continues to baffle many is the club's uncanny ability to predict future events. We've explored their prescient reports, most notably the limits to growth, which painted an alarmingly accurate picture of our current environmental challenges. The ability to anticipate such complex global issues decades in advance raises questions. Is it simply due to the club's intellectual prowess, or is there something more at play? And what about the club's alleged influence on education and media? The idea of a global organization shaping public consciousness is unsettling, to say the least. But as we've seen, concrete evidence to support such a claim remains elusive. It's a theory that skirts the edge of plausibility, leaving us to wonder just how far the reach of the Club of Rome might extend. Then there's the theory of a new world order. The idea that the club's focus on global cooperation and sustainability is a mere smokescreen for a more sinister aim of global domination. The thought of a centralized world government is a common thread in many conspiracy theories. But with the Club of Rome, the question remains: is it a feasible reality or just a fabrication of overactive imaginations? And finally, the theory that takes speculation to another level: the extraterrestrial origins of the Club of Rome. It's a bold claim suggesting that the club's members are not merely influential people, but beings from another planet or dimension. It's a theory that, while exciting, lacks any form of verifiable proof. Yet it persists, adding another layer to the enigma surrounding the club. In the end, what's most intriguing about the Club of Rome is the unknown. The theories persist, fueled by the club's secretive nature and its undeniable influence on global issues. The evidence raises suspicion, but definitive answers remain elusive. The club's true goals, its reach, its influence, and the extent of its power might forever remain shrouded in mystery. As we've explored, the Club of Rome is a labyrinth of theories and speculation, a puzzle with pieces that may never fully fit together. And perhaps that's what makes it the most intriguing: the allure of the unknown, the tantalizing possibility of what might be, leaving us questioning everything. Thanks for listening. This has been Cults and Secret Societies. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.